This video will help you with the supply and demand curves for jelly donuts, which is U4A3 assignment. And you'll note here that we have data for demand schedule, and over here we have data for supply schedule. And we will take this information and we will graph these schedules. So you'll see how a demand curve and a supply curve fit on one chart. So there are several things we need to review here. First thing is here the law of demand. And the law of demand states that as the price of a product increases, quantity demanded falls. Likewise, as the price of a product decreases, quantity demanded increases. And all this means is if a supplier or producer sells a product for a higher price, increases the price, we'll tend not to buy. Our demand will start to decrease. So this is called an inverse or an indirect relationship. Our law of supply states that as the price of a good or service increases, the quantity of goods or services that suppliers offer will increase. Likewise, as the price of goods or services decreases, the quantity of goods or services that suppliers offer will decrease. And this is a proportional or direct relationship. And to help you better understand it, think of yourself as being employed. And your boss comes to you and says, hey, will you work 5 hours more this week? And you'll say, yes. If you give me time and a half, I'll do that. So you're willing to produce more in terms of hours of work if you are paid more. And that's what the supplier or the producer desires to do. They want to get paid more. So the law of supply and demand work together to determine prices in our economy. And on our supply and demand curves, we're going to see an equilibrium price, and that's where quantity demanded equals quantity supplied. So you're going to ask, how do we get to that equilibrium price? How's it determined? It's pretty simple. It's through interaction in the marketplace. So the consumer and the producer interact, and they arrive at a price. If the price is too high, I won't buy. If the price is too low, the supplier doesn't want to produce. So this interaction helps determine what the price is going to be. So taking a look at how we're going to graph this, I have some numbers here, and I'm going to quickly review with you how to create a graph. And so to do this, we're going to highlight our data. So you're going to capture your data. You're going to go into Insert. You're going to find the scatter chart and scatter with smooth lines, and voila, there we are. We've actually very simply graphed our information. We don't need series, so we're going to get rid of that, delete that, but we need to do labeling. So to label, we're going to go into layout, and in our layout we're going to go to a chart title, and we're going to have that above the chart. So the name of that is going to be, our name of our chart is going to be supply and demand, and I hit my enter and that goes in. Again, we're going to layout, we're going to go to axis titles, and for our primary horizontal we're going to create a title below the axis, and we will call that number of donuts, and hit enter. And that goes in, and then we want to also put in our vertical title, and that is going to be a rotated title. And we'll label this price per donut in dollars. Hit the enter, and there we are. So we now have our demand curve that we've created. Now we want to get in a supply curve. So we are going to take that information. I'm going to move it over here. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. And we're going to go through, and as you notice, it's already in there, but I'm going to get rid of it so I can show you how I put that in there. And in this case, I'm going to go to Design. So I click on Design, and I want to select my data. So I'll go over here and click on Select Data. I'm going to move this over here, click on Add, and I don't need a series name. but I do need my X value. So I click into the X value box, capture the data I need, and then I go to my series Y values, and I'm going to delete what's already in there, capture what I need, click OK, and there I have it. So quickly to go through that again, it was very simple. I went into design, went into select data, I captured what I needed, but before I did that I clicked on add, went into series X value, highlighted, removed what was already in that Y value box, captured what I needed, OK, OK. So there I am. I've got this completed at this time, and there's my supply and my demand curves. Now you can see where we have equilibrium price. I've circled it right here, my arrow is going to it, and this is where quantity supplied equals quantity demanded. This is where the consumer and the producer have interacted and a price has been established, and basically the shelf is cleared. Both the producer and the consumer are happy with that price. So in your assignment for Unit 4A3, the supply and demand curves from Jelly Donuts, they're going to give you another scenario, and in that scenario they're going to say that demand has increased by 10 and supply has decreased by 5 units. And by the way, the prices or the numbers data I have here does not match the assignment. I've done that purposely so that I'm not doing the whole solution for you. So again, we have in the second scenario that's in the assignment, the demand has increased by 10 units and supply has decreased by 5 units for every given price. So we are now going to create a new graph. So I'm going to capture, go into insert, go to scatter, and there I've got my new graph, and as you can see it's quite steeper. Then I'm going to get rid of the series, and I need to put in my supply at this time, as I only have my demand curve here. So to do that, I'm going to go into design, select data, add, and I capture my X right here, the units of supply, and I've actually put them in the wrong location, so let me just get out of that and go into add again. And again, I don't need the series name. I need to be down in the series X values box here, capture the range, then come down into the Y series and capture the price, click OK, OK, and as you can see, my equilibrium price has changed based on the increased demand and decreased supply. So right now it'd be at approximately, the equilibrium price would be at about 90 cents, and in my previous graph it'd be at about 50 cents. So there's one other thing you should be aware of, and of course we take the time to label these, but we'll move on right now to take a look at what happens with a surplus and a shortage. So if I'm going to have a surplus, that means that the producer has hiked the price too much and consumers aren't buying. So that's represented up in this area right here. So let's see if I can bring that front. Okay, so there's my surplus right up in this area, right in here, and if I were to insert a little bit of a shape here, you would see it's going all through here. This is my surplus area. Now shortage simply means that the supplier has priced the product too low. And so where the equilibrium price is 90 cents here, they're selling it at 80 cents and lower. So I'm finding that as a consumer, that's a great deal for me. And the problem is, though, eventually everything's going to be sold off the shelves, and the producer will start hiking that price, and eventually we will most likely end up back with an equilibrium price where that interaction between consumer and producer has occurred, and we are satisfied with the price. So it gives you an idea on equilibrium price as we've taken a look here, and on what happens with a shortage and a surplus.